alhamdulillah, this is one of the miracles of this religion, is that even though we're as fallen as we are as a community, because we've fallen very far from the, this exalted ideal that our Prophet and his people gave us. And when you think about it, I mean, just think about this. He had 13 years of real tribulation, and then 10 amazing years of his time in Mecca, in Medina. And then the next 30 years are amazing, up to 61 after Hijrah, when Ali, the end of Ali's radiallahu anhu, his period, the Caliph Ali. The success of this religion is unprecedented in the history of religions. It's unprecedented, I guarantee you. There's actually, they have these models that they have up online, and they show the spread of religions. They have this amazing graphic where they show the spread of religions. All the religions spread very slowly. They just really slowly. And then right when Islam comes on the scene, it's like, whoosh, the whole thing just turns green. It just spread so fast. And one of the things we just finished reading in the book club, this amazing book by Arnold, they called The Preaching of Islam. And one of the things that he shows is the spread of Islam continued up to the last caliph of the Uthmani period. And then he basically stops. He said he didn't do much after that because he said there wasn't really a lot of da'wah activity anymore. So I thought it was really interesting that he recognized that with the end of the Khilafah, it's like, was the end of da'wah. And which one preceded the other? Because even, believe it or not, the Ottoman Caliph supported Alexander Russell Webb here in his da'wah center in New York. This American, he was a consul in the Philippines, and he ended up becoming Muslim. And then also Qilium, Abdullah Qilium, who was a Victorian Muslim, he became Muslim. He was supported by the Ottoman, the Dawlah, al-Bab al-Ali. Like they were supporting da'wah enterprises in these countries. It's amazing. And they used to make dua during Sultan Abdul Hamid's period. They used to make dua for America. Amazing. In 1838, when Al-Sa'id, the ruler of Oman, and people forget how powerful Oman was. Oman extended all the way down the East African coast, all the way to Mozambique, right? And which is still, there's large Muslim populations in these places. But they were a trading people, and they noticed these American ships coming into the waters, trading ships. And they saw how well built they were. These were called Ironsides. One of the things, the reasons why the Americans, they created a navy fairly early on, and their navy was amazing because they used this Georgia oak to build the ships, and they called them Ironsides because the oak was so strong the cannonballs would bounce off of them. Because of this Georgia oak, it was a special wood. And so Al-Sa'id got worried because he saw that these are powerful people. So he actually sent a ship load of gifts to the Sultan of America. This is a famous, true story. It was in all the newspapers. There really should be like a film about this because it's so fascinating. So he sent this ship with all these gifts for the president, but he called him the Sultan of, Wilayat America. And when they got here, the sailors made quite a show in New York because the ship was called the Sultana, and it arrives in New York it went all the way around the Cape of Good Hope, across the Atlantic from Oman. So he was actually thinking, about you give gifts, it's something that you do to kind of say, look, we're friendly, you should be friendly with us. And so among the gifts were some ima, which were sent back. You know, I won't translate that. But there were all these gifts, and they ended up, this is the beginning of the Smithsonian Museum, because they didn't know what to do. And in America, legally, they can't accept gifts, like the president. It's amazing quality of this country, because they recognize the power, the corruptible nature of gifts. So they have to, you know, if you give something, it gets registered and it goes into, so like when I went, I gave actually a hilya of the Prophet ﷺ, for that Sidi Muhammad Zakaria was writing when he heard the bombs go off in the Pentagon. He was actually writing a hilya when he heard the plane crash, because his house right like a few miles from the Pentagon. And I asked him what he was writing, and he said, "Kana ya'fu wa yasfah." He used to forgive and not punish. I swear to God, true story. And I just said, "Oh, can I take that? Because I'd like to give that as a gift, you know." And so he gave it to me. And then I gave a translation, Essential Quran from Thomas Cleary. And the night before, I put all these stickums on all the most important ayahs, because I said, I know you probably don't have time, but just read these, right? Because we have to engage these people, you know. This is part of our religion. The Prophet ﷺ, he sent messages to the leaders, and he sent them with respect. إِلَى عَظِيمَ الرَّوم. He didn't say إِلَى حَقِيرَ الرَّوم, you know, إِلَى الْمُشْرِكَ الْكَذَّابِ, you know. He said, إِلَى عَظِيمَ الرَّوم. Like he spoke with, because this, even Fir'aun, Allah told Moses, اذهب إلى فرعون. Moses and Harun were told, اذهب إلى فرعون وقولا له قولا لينا. Speak gently to him, not harshly, because rulers, they don't, if you speak harshly to them, it doesn't work, they just get angry, right? So that's the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. But, and then also another, people don't know this, but at the Washington Monument, the only foreign country that donated to build the Washington Monument was the Ottomans. And there's a plaque on the 14th floor. It says, from Sultan Abd al-Majid ila Vilayat America, you know. And then it says in Turkish, for continued friendship. You know, so they were thinking they were weak. And the thing about weak people is you don't want enemies when you're weak. You want friends, right? Because you can't defend yourself. Weak people can't defend themselves. And so it's better to make friends. But the Prophet ﷺ, I think one of the things that really struck me when I, you know, just studying the Prophet was, and I don't know any other religion that has this. I mean, they have in Bhakti Yoga, it's a devotional practice the Hindus have, where they, you know, have devotions to all their daily acts and things like that. But there's no prophet, I think, that I know of that gave their followers prayers for everything. It's just amazing. The Prophet ﷺ, he gave prayers for every act that human beings do.